Hey everyone, it's the one and only magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over all of the NFL divisional round games for the playoffs, and I'm going to give my predictions on who I think is going to win each and every one of them. So, like always, if you like the video, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and all that good stuff. And hopefully, everyone is doing good out there and staying warm. So, I don't think we should go ahead and delay this any further. I think I'm going to go ahead and just jump into it. Okay, so let's kind of briefly go over the wild card round. So, the LA Rams beat the Carolina Panthers by a score of 34-31. So yeah, they barely beat the Panthers. Then that same day or that same evening, when the Chicago Bears took on the Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears had to come back from like a 16 to 18 point deficit against the Green Bay Packers, and Chicago won that game 31-27. Then Jacksonville the Jacksonville Jaguars took on the Buffalo Bills, where Jacksonville had the opportunity to win, but they ultimately failed as the Buffalo Bills beat them by a score of 27-24. Then we had the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the San Francisco 49ers, where the 49ers would go ahead and end up winning that game by a score of, was it 23-19 or something like that? It was pretty close. Then we had the New England Patriots taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, where I was very confident that the Patriots were going to win that game. I heard a whole bunch of shit talking. Oh, the Patriots are frauds. The Chargers are going to beat them. Blah, blah, blah. Well, look how that game turned out. Yeah, it wasn't the prettiest of games. It was rough in the first half. It absolutely was. I'm not going to sit here and be ignorant to that fact. But we were able to win that game by a score of 16-3. And then on Monday night, we had the other blowout between the Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as the Houston Texans make Aaron Rodgers look amateurish as they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers by a score of 30-6. Okay, let's talk about the first matchup between the number 6 seed Buffalo Bills taking on the number 1 seed Denver Broncos, who are coming off a bye week. Okay. So, I know Denver, yes, they are the number 1 seed, and they've won a lot of close games. I don't even think they've had a blowout win all season long. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I honestly don't remember them ever having a blowout win, with the exception of the Week 18 matchup against the Chargers. Except that game, I think they beat them like 19-3 or some crap like that, similar to what we beat the Chargers by. But honestly, I had talked about it briefly in a post where I predicted where one of the number 1 seeds could possibly be one and done. I know, as crazy as that sounds, I think who's more likely to be one and done, if I had to pick between Seattle and Denver, I would actually pick Denver to be the one to be one and done. I honestly would. I hate it pains me to pick Buffalo, but I gotta pick Buffalo on this, only because yes, Denver has had a lot of close wins, but they haven't convinced me that they can blow a team out. New England has done that, sure. Oh, they've had an easy schedule, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, New England has blown teams out multiple times this season. Something that Denver hasn't done. Yes, they've had the tiebreakers over us. They got the number 1 seed. Yes. But I don't know. This is going to be a true test for Denver. 100%. Can they pull it off against Buffalo? Y'all know, if y'all been subscribed to my channel for a while, or just for a little bit, you'll know I'm a die or ride New England Patriots fan. And it pains me to pick the Buffalo Bills, but I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills to make it to the AFC Championship game just because of all of the close games that Denver has had. I'm not convinced that they could go out there and beat Josh Allen in Buffalo. Or, excuse me, rather, they're not in Buffalo, but y'all know what I mean. I'm just not convinced that Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos will be able to beat Buffalo and Josh Allen. I feel like eventually all of those close games, Denver being in is going to end up biting them in the ass. And if they get in a close one against Buffalo, I think their playoff journey, it'll end before it even really begins. So, yeah, I see Buffalo moving on. So, yeah, give me the Buffalo Bills to go ahead and upset the number 1 seeded Denver Broncos. Okay, next up, we have another battle of the number 6 seed and number 1 seed the same day between the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, so this match could be pretty interesting because it is 2 divisional rivals facing each other for the 3rd time this year. They both have a win over one another, so this is going to be the rubber match. So, unlike Denver, I just talked about Seattle, they do have some blowout wins, I'm pretty sure. More than Denver does. And, yeah, I think Sam Darnold is dealing with some sort of injury the last time I heard, but I don't know if it's going to actually keep him out of the game or not. But the 49ers, they are so injured, they have their own medical ward coming with them to Seattle. That's how badly hurt they are. That's how badly banged up the 49ers are. And because of that, I don't think the San Francisco 49ers are going to be able to overcome the injuries. So give me the Seattle Seahawks because unlike Denver, I'm actually a little bit more impressed by Seattle being the number 1 seed. I just feel like Denver, I don't know if it's I think it's more so of them just being lucky. And granted, we'll get to it in a minute. We'll talk about it in a minute, but give me the Seattle Seahawks to go ahead and win and beat the 49ers and go to the NFC Championship game to host the NFC Championship game. Now, on Sunday, we have the number 5 seeded Houston Texans going up against the number 2 seeded New England Patriots. Okay. So, I just mentioned that I was pretty confident when we went up against the Chargers. I said, I heard all this mumbo-gumbo garbage that, the Chargers are going to upset the Patriots. I'm like, nah, it's the Chargers. They're going to Charger. And that's exactly what happened. Now, however, okay, Houston actually has a pretty legit defense. They have a really good defense. They made Aaron Rodgers look like a B-I-C-T-H. They made him look like a biatch. They absolutely did. Now, could they do the same to Drake May? They could. I don't know. This one's going to be 50-50 because I could see Houston win it, but then I could see New England win it because I had made some polls and I saw that, some of y'all were pretty split on the next matchup, and nobody, as far as I looked last time, nobody believed in Denver. I think y'all was y'all split between Seattle and San Francisco? No, y'all might have been more in favor of Seattle, but nobody voted for Houston to beat New England. And that kind of shocked me there because I thought maybe it would go in more so favor of Houston. Because I'm going to tell you this now. If New England makes the same mistakes that they made like they did against the Chargers, if they make those very same mistakes against Houston, Houston will be able to take advantage. And it could be within reach. It could be out of reach. I don't think it'll be like 30-6, nothing like what they did to Pittsburgh. Good God, no, nothing like that. But I think this game, I think it will be closer than the Patriots and Texans last game. It's going to come down to who's going to make the fewest mistakes. Sure, Drake May, he didn't look the greatest against the Chargers, but C.J. Stroud, he didn't look all that great against Pittsburgh. He did enough to win the game, just like Drake May did enough to win their game. So I gotta pick somebody. Okay. I was debating on who the hell am I going to pick for this game? Who do I think is going to win? Well, I've made a decision, and I think the New England Patriots will be able to squeak by and make it to the AFC Championship game. So if that is to happen, if Buffalo wins and if the Patriots win, that means the New England Patriots would be hosting the AFC Championship game against Buffalo theoretically. If those two winners were to, if Buffalo was to win and New England were to win, Buffalo would be going to New England for the title game. So yeah, give me the Patriots in a extremely close one. Absolutely. Now, this last one we're going to talk about between the number 5 seed Los Angeles Rams and the number 2 seeded Chicago Bears. Okay, this one is interesting because I made a poll. Like I said, you guys, last time I looked, you guys were pretty split on who you were picking. Yeah, it was 50-50 between the Bears and Rams. And before the Rams and Panthers playoff game, I would have said, oh yeah, the Rams, they got this. But after watching that Rams and Panthers game in the wild card, I'm like, ooh, should we be such high praise on the Rams? I don't know. Because, let's be honest, the Rams should have absolutely dominated Carolina in that wild card game, but they didn't. They barely won by the skin of their teeth. So this is an interesting one. Yeah, you guys are pretty split on who you think is going to win between the Rams and the Bears. Earlier, before that playoff game between the Rams and Panthers, if you would have asked me, I would have 100% taken the Rams. But now, after that game, I'm not so sure about that pick anymore. I don't know. Because I kind of talked about it in the post. I'm not going to go too much into it. But, yeah, I feel like this matchup might favor Chicago more. Because, well, they got the cold weather elements on their side, and another reason is Caleb Williams, he's got DEI on his side. So, and Matthew Stafford does not. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Rams can play like that against the Chicago Bears like they did against Carolina and come out with a W. I don't know. If they play like that again, I could see Chicago coming out with this win because, y'all saw what happened with the Green Bay and Chicago game. Yeah, Green Bay should have absolutely won that game, but they blew it. So let's just say if the Rams were to go up big like that early on, I could definitely see Chicago coming back and winning that game by the skin of their teeth. So, I don't know. That Rams-Bears game, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but that game might be a little bit more lopsided than we might think. So yeah, give me the Chicago Bears. I'm going to go with y'all. I'm going to go with you guys that are voting for the Chicago Bears. So yeah, give me the Chicago Bears. So just to recap before we end it, for the AFC Championship game, I think we're going to get the number 6 seed Buffalo Bills going to the number 2 seeded New England Patriots. And for the NFC Championship game, I think we're going to get the number 2 seeded Chicago Bears going to the number 1 seeded Seattle Seahawks. That's right. I got Denver being exposed and eliminated, being one and done. I did talk about possibly one of the number 1 seeds being kind of fraudulent and being one and done. And if it is going to be one of the two, I think it's more likely going to be Denver than Seattle. I'm just a little bit more impressed by Seattle especially because look, Sam Darnold for the majority of his career, he has been absolute ass. But being with this Seahawks team, this is probably the best he's ever played in his whole career. Let's be honest. So I don't know. Maybe Denver can shock us. You know what? I'm just going to say this now. I hope I'm wrong on the Buffalo pick. Oh God, I'd love for Denver to win, but I don't see it. I'm gonna stick with my gut, and I'm still gonna pick Buffalo, even though I hate picking Buffalo. I'm not convinced by Denver. I'm not. I'm really not. Oh, I want to be so wrong on that pick. Please let me be. If I'm gonna be wrong on any of these picks, let it be the first game. But I don't. We'll find out shortly. So yeah, AFC Championship game, Buffalo at New England. NFC Championship game, Chicago at Seattle. That's what I think we're going to get. And I don't know if I'm going to make a video talking about the results of the games. I mean, I might. Who knows? We'll see. But I'll definitely, if I'm able to, I'll make a video talking about the two championship games, no matter what the matchups happen to be in real time. So, let me know what you guys think about my predictions, and let me know your own predictions on who you think is going to make the Super Bowl and all of that. So, yeah, I just want to thank all of you for stopping by and for continuing to support me. And like I said, if you're new, welcome on in for the very first time. I'm glad to have your time, and thank you for your support. I am Buck Beak, and I'm going to go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye, guys.